In the trenches. In the trenches. In the trenches.
Season 2 was about getting less formal. Even my background in my office, you know, how everything was super like OCD, frames of different things.
Yeah, you need a warehouse full of shit, you know? You need like big open space,
seats
like a garage.
That you sink in.
Coming in here on day one, literally not knowing what to expect. And we walk into the room and we're like passing two, 3 girls or something. I was like, hey, that's Grace Bowers.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, Grace Bowers, who's that? I'm like, I don't know, just some girl that was on the Grammys with Coldplay.
Yeah. Rehearsing,
we got to get her on the pod.
We will get her on the pod.
Dude, let's talk. Let's talk about, there's a new wave of this pop punk era, and I can't help but think of you, my friend.
Yeah.
And why do I think that?
Because I know I had a big stamp on that era in music for sure.
The biggest thing that people don't know is that Spidey was in the forefront of the 2000s era of all your favorite bands, all the songs that they're doing karaoke to. And I keep learning. I'm like, he did this one. Oh, and then he did this one. And then he worked with Eminem and then Good Charlotte and all that stuff. So
yeah. It is interesting to hear that pop punk is having a resurgence. You know, I see like my good friends from Story of the Year, they're in a bit more aggressive side of pop punk, but nonetheless, they're in that culture. They're blowing up. I see Good Charlotte, my boys, they're killing it right now.
Yeah.
Yellow Card, they're all having a second wave.
Do you like it? Do you support it? Do you like all this new music and all that stuff?
I mean, I do. I mean, I don't listen to pop punk as much anymore, but during 2001, 2, 3, 4, and 5, whatever, it was my life. You know, I had Dickies. I look like a cross between Fred Durst meets, you know, any one of the Simple Plan guys. You know, it's just
you weren't full Good Charlotte. You were definitely,
you know, you could
you had a piece of each one of those bands in you.
Yes,
I can
absolutely.
Tell
it took a while.
Pictures.
You see my hair? I had spiked up hair. I mean, I probably used a gel.
This is a good opportunity. Let's pull up a picture of Spidey on set of one of his music videos. Maybe specifically, maybe it's the Good Charlotte one. Just on the topic of pop punk.
Yeah, the video that kind of set it off in that era was the Anthem video for Good Charlotte.
And while you're directing, you actually looked like you were in the band. I didn't tell you that.
Yeah, that was important.
You had the look. You blended in. It was almost like
yeah.
I mean, like when I joined Hardy, I started wearing certain things and copying him. I'll admit.
Well, you kind of you wouldn't when you work with artists that closely like you do, like we do now, even back then. I haven't changed my approach in how I work in this business. It's no mystery that I really do partner with the artists. It's very important to me because it's where the art or my work art is going to generate from. They're the ones writing the music, singing the songs, and I love collaborating. And I did it back then. That was all we did. I mean, I would go to Joel's house. I would go to Feldman's studio in the hills from Goldfinger. It was about a lifestyle.
Yeah, I think that's lesson number 1 of how you do business in this business.
Yeah.
And it is who you are and how you connect with these people before you even touch a camera.
Absolutely. I mean, how Good Charlotte came about, I think.
Tell that story.
I was taking a leak next to Benji in the bathroom at Warped Tour I think it was like Irvine.
Were you guys sharing a porta potty? Or?
We were just urinals next to each other, and I'm like sitting there, ooh, okay, this is that moment. I didn't know, and I think I might have said it like that. I think I called it out as being like, hey, I think I came here to try it in the hopes to talk with y'all. I didn't know it'd be at the urinal.
What brought you there originally?
Well, I
Or
think
were
it
you
was.
just a fan and you just worked
Well,
your
no, I
way
think I mean
backstage?
this. It's hard to remember specifics, but we were doing. It's important to note that when I talk about this era, I was in a directing team. So it was Smith and Boren. My good friend. We went to college at Loyola Marymount University Film School. We met there. We started a directing team. It was just us.
And that was your sidekick, your co-director with on the Simple Plan,
All those
music videos,
yes.
all of them.
So we had started off in the Simple Plan. I forget how it was working. We would maybe done some Bowling for Soup videos or whatever. But yeah, we went to. We were on the streets. Is really what I'm getting at. I mean, hell. Just a side note. When we got signed to production companies, this is a cool story. It's a side note. We made our reel. And we had tiers of different production companies we would hit up. Okay. And tiers meaning tier 1 were the ones we really wanted to get to. So we gave them a cooler, styrofoam cooler with ice, Coronas, and inside our reel.
Oh, I'm in.
Tier 2 was a birthday present that they had to open up, and it was our reel.
For the record, for people who don't know, a reel is basically a
demo
collage
reel.
of all
Yes,
of your
a demo
previous
reel
work.
saying, "Please sign me, sign us."
Was
us.
this real like you were a skateboarder?
We
and
had
you
it
had a
planned out.
a VHS tape.
Now here's how it went. Right now, remember we were very young, so we would leave I was staying at his mom's house. My girlfriend broke up with me. I didn't have a house to live in.
Classic.
So we had designed this whole mission. We was left in separate cars, and we would attack our list of production companies to hit up with coolers, birthday presents, and reels.
And had you guys done a big production music video before that?
No, we had combined his body of work and my body of work. We were inseparable at college when we realized we just thought the same. We came to film school to direct music videos.
Sick.
And when you find someone who's not there to direct short films or indie films, and you're like, no, do you know who Chris Cunningham is? Yeah, dude, yeah, I love his work. And you find that friend at that age, and we dominated. And it's nothing shy of that. With these reels, we would get calls before we could leave the parking lot. Yo, come on back. Get in here. We're watching your reel right now. We're like drinking beer right now at 10 a.m. watching your reel.
What year was this? Come on, say it.
2000.
Okay, so this was before the cell phone. This was.
Oh no, we had cell phone. We had Nextels or whatever. We were beeping each other.
What were they watching the reel on? Was it a VHS player? A DVD at that time?
DVDs.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my God, I can't remember. It's been so long. But
You
DVDs.
guys save your DVD players and your VHS.
It might have
players.
been. It might have been VHSs. To be very honest with you,
Dude,
because I do believe we packaged our reel. We made a VHS packaging.
Okay, and then how long did you do this for?
And it immediately got results. I had to be like, "Yo, where you at?" He's like, "I'm dropping off to this company." I'm like, well, get on over to this company because they want to meet with us now."
You were probably the only ones doing that.
We were. But I do remember when we were getting courted by these companies to sign with them. See, there was a big deal to sign with these companies, and they would court you. Come, eat these massive sushi lunches and talk and figure out who you are and what do you want out of your goals as a director, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we would start off on the floor. Like we would pretend like we were almost squatters because we were so young. And these guys would walk in going, they're late. They didn't know that we were the directors just sitting below the door.
Oh.
We would get up. Oh, hey guys, what's up? We're your directors. But we were just so young and hip and cool and whatever. They would walk in for 5 minutes, and it was just an interesting.
I bet no one told you or taught you how to be and right at 20 years old.
Yeah, it was an interesting time for sure.
I think being that young, the coolest part is that your strength of being so hungry, there's nothing can beat that.
That's it.
You could have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have this burning flame inside of you,
that's it, man. And even to this day, that's what I try to hold on to, because that is the spinach to being Popeye.
I still have it.
You know what I mean? Like you got to preserve that. And this business is really good at tearing that purity out of you. That what you do, you want to. At that time, I wanted to burst. I did. We didn't go around anything. We just bursted through the process. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we landed a crazy story. We needed an agent, and nothing was going to happen back then, And I get a phone call from my sister, who's at her reunion in San Diego. And at her reunion, she's with a guy. She's friendship with a friend, a longtime friend, and his name is Tommy Labuda. And she's like, "Hey, I'm with my friend Tommy. He grew up down the street and stuff. We're at the reunion, and he says he's a director's rep in L.A. And I said that you're my little brother, and he wants you to talk to him." Well, flash forward, he currently is the largest go-to director's rep in mainstream music videos, and I was his first director.
That's wild.
I was his first director.
That's
so
awesome.
we started together, and what was really beautiful, I can't reiterate it enough because it's not anymore, but I remember sitting at the Cheesecake Factory with him having lunch, and we were waiting on. I would get nervous when we would write on a job, and you would write a treatment, and it would be in the hands of your rep to get it to the right people. And he's like, "Yeah, we should hear today." And I'm like, "Okay, you want to go get lunch?" We get lunch, and I remember him looking at his sidekick, his little silver two-way sidekick.
Thing that just pops up.
He popped up, and he's like, "I'd ask you to sit down, but you're sitting down. You got Cypress Hill." And I remember these moments when I booked jobs. When we booked jobs, Frank and I, we booked. It was so.
Was that your first music? Was that
No,
the first
I mean,
big one that you got? Cypress
Bone
Hill?
Thugs was our first big one.
What
and
song was that?
That was we did. Golly, Can't Give It Up was one. I think the biggest one though was Exhibit. Get Your Walk On.
Oh my God! I didn't even know about this.
That to me, if you.
That's crazy.
Well, I feel like I'm just rambling, but
I'm not acting here. That is actually fucking crazy. Swear jar. Dude, I was a big Exhibit, West Coast hip hop, everything Shady Aftermath. And I know that you did work with those guys, but that's cool.
Yeah. How did that work out? Well, long and the short is Paul Rosenberg, the Paul Rosenberg,
Eminem's
Eminem,
manager.
shady Paul Rosenberg, really believed in us. Really, he took a liking to me, and he really wanted to give us a shot. And you got to remember, he believed that we were a baby director, and he gave us this nibble of that video, and it was a big deal. It was in 2001. First and foremost, so like even my wife looks at it. She's like, "Yeah, I was graduating high school." I'm like,
was
"Ooh."
Exhibit under his umbrella?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
There was some. I don't know how all that works, but
Got
it
it.
was kind of ushered through Paul. But yeah, that was a big one. I remember on set, Exhibit coming late, and
I fucked up.
No, gosh, no.
Oh no.
He
all right.
came late, and he thanked everybody. Said he was sorry to shook everybody's hand to say, "I'm so sorry. I'll make it up to y'all." Blah 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 blah. And there was a time on the set where he had too many chains on, and I asked him. I go, "You know what? Hey, let's remove a chain or two." He's oh yeah. He kind of came up there and he gave me a chain. I'm like, okay, put it over me. And I'm just directing,
I need
and
that picture.
I remember doing something, and I didn't want it to dangle or bump into something.
Yeah.
So I just put it in there real quick. I'm like, okay, roll. And we're doing our thing all long and the short. I'm driving home that night, and I realized
You still have the
I still
chains
have
on.
his $60,000 chain.
Shout out to Exhibit. He still has them.
We returned it, but it was just funny. I love it. No,
I'll-
I got to later see him at one of the anger management tours with Eminem, and I was backstage, and dude, it was the greatest thing ever. Honestly, this is a story I'll take. I asked Paul to say, hey, can I say hello to X? He had his room, his dressing room,
His green room, yeah.
his green room was locked, is closed, and he opened the door. And I looked inside, and it was just full of brothers, big people, girls, everything, smoke, the whole nine. I'm like, oh, that's probably not going to happen. Anyway, the door opens, and Exhibit's like, well, I can't really, man. He just stood with, I'll use my man. And he comes in, he shakes my hand, and he pulls me so close, and he holds me for a long time in a very, very tight, and I remember kind of like looking like this at everybody. Big dudes. Yeah. He is such the greatest dude.
That's so awesome.
I love Exhibit. Anyway, that's just a funny story. Let's talk other stories, man, of you. I don't want to talk about sitting around with me.
I don't know. I like your stories.
Yeah. Well, actually, all our stories will lead to things that do prompt knowledge or education. I believe in that. Because I say that every time we talk,
I mean, I just admire all of that because, again, I was such a big fan of all those bands. It wasn't so much Good Charlotte. It wasn't so much Simple Plan. Obviously, you would see them on TRL.
Yeah.
And I was religious about TRL.
Well, we have a lot.
I would pay dollars for TRL to come back. And the top 10 music videos, and they were just ingrained in your head right
Total
before.
Request Live.
Yeah, man, you would watch that right before you went to school, and I'd be wearing my shirt a certain way. Like, well, I think of like the Jay-Z, maybe Dirt Off Your Shoulder.
Yeah.
Or like, I Just Want to Love You or something like that. I remember I was like, man, I want that jersey. I'm going to wear it just like that. I was that kid.
Yeah.
And for the record, I was one of, very few white kids in my elementary school.
Well, if you think about it, like you said it, you would watch it. You would almost watch reruns in the morning before school, and then you would get the new release when you got home. And that was where you saw music videos. That's where you saw your most high-paid marketing dollars going to, well, I don't know how concerts are, but like as far as your branding work, music videos was at the height, was at the pinnacle of where you would spend that money.
Also, there's something to be said that you didn't see these people all the time.
Absolutely.
So when they had a world premiere, obviously they would promote it world premiere, and it was a brand new music video. That was like, it felt like it was special watching this for the first time. And then by the time you would listen to their music, and by the time you even saw them again, it would be the next music video or whatever. Yeah. Or if you would see them live. But me as a kid, I wasn't able to go to those concerts. I was just way too young. And I think there's something about like maybe exclusivity or and there's a little bit of a wave right now in 2026 of content versus art. And like A$AP Rocky just came out with a new album. And it crushed. And you didn't hear from him for years.
Yeah.
Same goes with Kendrick Lamar. Same goes with, Tyler, the Creator. Basically, you're not being fed all this content every day, in every which way. So it makes it more special. It makes it more.
Well, think about this. When MTV introduced MTV Cribs, I mean, now you're going into your favorite artist's home. I mean, I would watch that like it was nothing. I mean, not like it was like I had to see it. It was important to watch because, again, it was the only place, the only avenue to get that material, and therefore the allure or the lack of over producing something, over marketing, overshooting things. You lived in the absence of allure. I mean, that's what it gave.
It seems like, because with MTV Cribs, obviously you're looking at these top dollar mansions, like depicting them more as rock stars. Do you think there was a lot more rock stars back in the day than there are now?
Well, I will say this.
Because of the different marketing. Every part of marketing that you saw of someone, of an artist, you saw them in their highest outlandish way of being fucking awesome.
I also happen to know many of the producers, but also the car companies at that time when I was a hotshot little director running around the scene, and I was rolling with everyone. And some of these car companies, the blah 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 motors, they would soup up rides and stuff like that. They wanted to be in the know too with us and go to the parties and stuff like that. So
Chevy Impalas were big.
So I ended up hanging with these folks. And why I'm saying all that is a lot of these artists didn't have those cars at their house. They were brought there. See, so houses were rented and stuff like that. It's hard to tell who the OGs were.
That's
and
showbiz.
That is showbiz. But I mean, Hollywood. Again, it did its thing.
And now everyone's just adhering to the social media numbers, and it's like,
yeah,
everyone doesn't look like rock stars anymore.
Yeah, I do believe I do agree that when you start to overpopulate and, just have so much content of yourself out there or whatever, these artists, you're losing the mystique. You lose, it's like absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? With your lady, your significant other, you leave town for 3 days, she comes back, it's like, wow, just refreshed, you feel brand new.
A perfect example is one of our good friends, somebody that you've worked with, somebody that I've worked with too, and that's Morgan Wallen.
Oh, yeah.
And Morgan does such a good job, obviously, since the beginning of his big come up with social media and all that stuff. But now he's hit a pinnacle. He's doing stadiums. You don't see these selfie videos every week. You don't even see them every month. Now everything is so quality over quantity, but everyone's on their tiptoes waiting for him to release something. That's why every video or piece of content that he releases, it blows up.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You would think that kind of that would come across to people and they would get that, because I see a lot of stuff, and I even say to myself, really, does the artist really this vertical video of you performing? I mean, do you really think you're helping yourself right here? Is this helping? Like, the perception that I see is that you look like a clown, but yet, does that matter what people perceive, or is it more important to get into the algorithm stream? Like, I really do want to know that. Like, me, algorithm data stuff is so last on my thought process versus did I look like a cheese ball? Did this happen?
That's
all
the difference
these
between
things.
you as a creative versus a suit, and people on the business side. And
but even
important.
the artists are being led by managers or suits and stuff, or labels. I don't know.
I feel like maybe there was a little bit more balance back in the day.
Today versus, let's just say, the early pop punk days. I said it before, is like your entrance fee as a director wasn't as simple as it is now. Okay? It's becoming a visual maker is much easier in today's day versus it was circa 2003, let alone getting the attention of artists, record labels, managers at that era. You see, money was spent so cautiously because it was so expensive. So
give me a comparison of what a music video you've done recently versus one of the Good Charlottes or one of the ones you did in the past.
Well, every video is different.
I'm aware of this.
It all depends on
the numbers are shocking.
Yeah, you take your average Good Charlotte or Simple Plan video in that time, 2003 or 4, you're hitting a range of 200,000 to 400,000. So,
and nowadays,
again, but now you got nowadays. My last video was 70. Wait, what was it? I'm trying to 70.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
but I've also had to relearn how I shoot with all this new gear without having all the bells and whistles, and it's become kind of my thing. You see, I've gone from big lighting, Musco lights, lighting parking lots, 2 of them, to a Home Depot light. It's now
You're forced to work smarter, not hard. Actually, you're forced to work both smarter and harder. And do you find that there's just so many more challenges there?
Where?
Do you feel frustrated when you had to make that transition from like, oh well, I got big budget, I'm just gonna get the big best lights ever, but now I gotta kind of, how do I get my scene with a
Well-
budgeted project?
Well, back then, I was so concerned with trying to become something, right? So I would emulate my favorite directors, or I would almost embody their styles, because I was going to their sets, and by proxy, I learn. And it's also these guys, Dave Myers. I mean, these guys are, their work is.
Dave Myers, the GOAT.
We weren't fully leaning into what did we want to say, as much as it felt more like I was technically reverse engineering what the big dogs were doing, so you would hire us to do for that thing. That was a point, but that was awesome, right? If you think about it, I learned.
What was equipment? Was that more expensive? Was crew more expensive?
Everything.
Obviously, you had
You got
10 times more people and talent.
Think
that
about
had to be
this.
there.
You're shooting maybe 16,000 feet of film or more, 35 millimeter, transferring that film at 650 an hour for 11, 12 hours.
For all you kids out there with your SD cards, we're talking about film.
Yeah, your transfer sessions could very well be 2 days. It's also the film and how we transferred, and those colorists and those DPs created that look that so many want to emulate, and they can't. It's a different era. It's so nostalgic, right? All that era, it's that film. It's exploring with these new rank machines. You're like, oh, how far can the highlights go? Wow, that looks great. But then you're like, oh, but you look back at it, you're like, what were we doing?
Yeah.
Like, it's a white face.
Yeah.
It doesn't, their eyes look like 2 piss holes in the snow. What do we do? You know what I mean? But you're shoving on exhibit, Get Your Walk On. I remember him sweating on a take inside because the light was here, and I think it was at 102 or something degrees.
And he didn't say anything like, hey,
oh, he did.
fellas.
He did. We had to bring him back in and stuff, but that's what gave that look. What look is that? Well, you're shooting a specific stock of film. You're exposing it a specific way. You're bringing this wattage of power and light to this magnificent set close. Why? So that you can wrap that light in what every treatment had during that era, crushed blacks.
Yeah.
Everyone just crushed them blacks. Crushed them blacks. And there's no mystery that why that exists in my photography, Zach. My photography looks are very similar to what I did with these amazing colorists, which an earlier episode, I used them as role models. You got to remember this. I'm back into my film nerd shit right now. These colorists were my role models.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the artists. Hell, it was halftime the directors. These guys, I knew what their responsibility was to these looks that I'm seeing back in Arizona wanting to do that.
But
right?
Like anything, you were building your style. You were taking,
absolutely.
Yeah, you're going to these colorists, you're going to these other directors, and you're trying to figure out, all right, how do I make the same thing but in my own way?
But let me latch on to that.
Yeah.
This I've never said before. I didn't get my style until Smith and Boren broke up.
Interesting. But-
Because I mean, we can talk an entire month on directing teams.
But you
I
learned
lived
so
it.
much from that
But,
partnership and all those projects.
Yeah. You learn when you separate. Oh shit. He really was good at writing.
Yeah.
God, his ideas were really damn, I gotta find an editor that can cut like you know what I mean? You're like, ooh, you kind of missed what
Did you feel like in that era, right? We're talking about the early 2000s while you had this partnership that you weren't so focused on your style and trying to be unique. You were just trying to get the job done, right? Or were you trying what was in your head?
I'll tell you, we wanted to do commercials. We wanted to do high-end commercials. We wanted to be the guys eventually. They had the biggest budgets, all the gear, the time. There was this allure, this honor back then, which I don't know if it's still around because I have kind of left the ad world a bit. But boy, you just wanted to be a director in that world. It was the cream of the
commercials
crop.
back then were so much more fun.
And
That
so,
the era of
Michael Bay, we were like,
Super Bowl halftime commercials was
Joe Pitka, Michael Bay.
You would watch that more than the football game.
Exactly. So directors, like I just mentioned, Marcus Nispel, you would be trying to hone your craft tailored. Sorry, I was. That's my focus. I really wanted to move in that. But production companies, when we would sign to these companies, and it was a privilege to be signed at these companies.
Yeah.
You got to understand, like, that is an honor at that time.
Yeah.
You would be nervous being a unsigned director walking into a high-end production company going,
you're basically the actor trying to make it in Hollywood.
Yeah. So it was about trying to emulate and show we were capable of doing those commercials. But we were the baby directors at these companies. We were in their music video division slaying it, just one after another, just 18 videos a year. We would sign to these companies hoping that they would see us to move us over to the commercials. But rightfully so, they have their cash cows. I just mentioned, guys, we were at that company. That might have been a mistake. You see, we were there for the videos getting that love, but we wanted to cross over into the commercials, but they've already got Spike Jonze. They got Marcus Nispel. And I just told you who was trying to mirror work like. So we were almost, you know what I mean? We get the baby vert, you get the scraps.
In your head, what did you think was going to be the factor that got you from one level to another? Like, how were you working on your music videos? Being like, were you like, man, we gotta go bigger?
Yes,
we gotta go crazier.
Always take a pay cut. We took pay cuts left and right. We want more film. If it's 16, we would split rates, or even when we broke off, I still do it. I give in money. If you're a director not putting in money into your project, music videos, good on you, rock and roll. Because I have done it since day uno. I've had commissioners say, well, if he wants the job, he's going to do it for free. And guess what? I did it for free.
I worked for 5 years for free.
Yes, and companies would invest in us, and that's very important. I was with some beautiful, amazing people. Joe Giuliano, Neil Myers at Crossroads, Tommy Labuda, who I still am I can't talk enough about him as a rep. But yes, it was when we broke up as a Smith & Boring directing team that I really honed my style. And even my wife was the one to say that. She was like, from here on, you need to be an artist.
Well, change is progress.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And yes, exactly. Where we were young, traveling the world.
I wanna trace back, Zach. Pull up on your phone. I want to trace back because I want to watch one of these music videos. We're not leaving until we do, because I saw we were together last night or yesterday, and we were going through some of your past videos that I knew of some and I didn't know of many, and there was an evolution because everyone got bigger and better, and whether the budget was the same or not, and I want to watch specifically. Remind me what song it was. It's Simple Plans, and I thought whole thing was green screen. I thought it was fake, and you're like, no, absolutely not.
That was the Simple Plan Addicted music video. Is that the one? I'm a dick. I'm addicted.
Which is
so
an instant classic.
we can go into that one if we got a moment or two. But that video, you actually did.
pull that one up, and we're gonna watch it here.
So
But
that shot right there was in the final. We were overtime. And the DP, John Sella has gone on to do huge movies, but he lit it and then had to catch a plane to Washington.
You filmed that at the very end of the day.
We were overtime. I had to run it real quick. But when you look at the video, that was all in a stage. And if you think about what that is, that's an entire set build. And what's in the background, you think that's a city, that's a translite.
Right.
A translite is just a huge piece of giant one frame of film that you backlight like a stadium, and then it looks like that. So there's pumping light in there. Now, one thing about this, the band wanted the video to be like, "Hey, dude, this is our jumping song. Like every time we play this, the crowd just goes ape shit, and they just jump. So everything has to be motivated about that." The band had the idea. Chuck, on the drummer of the band, on 7 of our videos, whatever, he would always come up with the nugget, and we would expand on it, on his idea.
Look at that harsh light on him.
So yeah, dude. So this is
3 degrees, sweating
with a negative right next to him.
All of your work back then, you honed in on so much contrast. It was awesome.
Yes, but don't forget,
it emphasized your lights.
But also don't forget those walls were painted scenic. Those are scenic red maroon. I was in there the night before making sure they look like that. I can go into other videos where we were very integral to every piece of every video. We kind of were a little OCD on that.
Yeah. Talk about what's happening right now. So obviously, things are falling from the ceiling.
Yeah. So the whole video is a progression of due to their jumping, they're destroying this rehearsal space. So we have people in the rafters, around 12 people, throwing cat litter down on the band in progression because we didn't want it all at once, and it would be an editing nightmare to have it had to build. And that's what I told you yesterday, if you remember. We watched a couple of videos, right? And they all built. They build to an ending. So you don't blow it all out in the gates. So we had to have, and we have people on string adjusting, shaking the lamps. See the lamps shake? Not the little lamps down there.
How many PAs did you have?
20-some.
20-some PAs. Come on.
Yes.
We can't even get 2 today.
And yes. And then it builds to an explosion with all the lights. And we had one take to do it in 2 or 3 cameras. So we would position the cameras in such a place to get all of the explosion, electricity going crazy. And then when the band actually had to catch a plane to Mexico.
So to conclude, you had a six-figure music video that you were ready to film it all in one take.
Not one take. Yes, we could have, but you had to have angles, right?
Right.
So every take had the same thing. We had to clean up the debris. How about that?
How many cameras did you have rolling?
2 at all times.
Okay.
So, but think about it. First take, what do you have to do? Clean up your take because you got to start over again.
Look at this shit. And so did you say you had all your PAs? Not all your PAs.
The ceiling was exposed, but we built it to where it looked like it was a ceiling, right? You had big concrete looking. It was styrofoam.
Yeah.
Styrofoam overhead, and we had people in the rafters dumping down cat litter. We had pillars that were made to feel like concrete chipping away. And then in post, after we were done editing everything, coloring everything, now we go in and we X, Y, access, shake. So it would be a little vibe. You know,
at the end of all that, how DIY it was and how you used cat litter over.
Well, it was anything but DIY.
Well,
it was a massive undertaking.
You're using cat litter over, dirt or whatever specific kind of dust. I mean, that just.
There was a video that comes to mind that is an interesting story to tell. Good Charlotte Predictable. It was shot in Toronto, and it was going to be our second or third making the video with MTV. We have to do it's all, the concept was mirrored around Dr. Seuss meets Edward Scissorhands.
Nice.
Okay. So oddities, weird things. And we were building this band performance set.
Sounds like a real Tim Burton movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the set that the band was going to be in was a Tim Burton inspired room.
Nice.
With wainscoting and wallpaper and kind of built kind of whatever. And it's a 2-day shoot. Okay. So we flew in, boom, we went to see.
I'm pulling this up. Keep talking.
We went to see the build at around 4:00 the day before day 1. But day 2 was when we were going to shoot the set. We walk in and my heart sinks. It's nowhere near what we want. It's bad.
Oh no. The night before, the day before?
Bad. And we're like,
I got no Wi-Fi.
oh my God, what do we do? And I'm like, well, this is, you know what? How about we do this? Why don't we make it feel like Tim Burton's attic with the rock and the stone and this and scenic it and make it look all this? And the wood people, like, they're looking at wood walls with wallpaper and windows. And they're like, you want rock? You want stone? And my producer, who's this Israeli military guy, just amazing producer, Hagai was his name. And he goes, okay, let me talk to the guys. Let me talk to the guys. He leaves and comes back. He's typing in his calculator at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of looks over and he goes, okay, to do this, that's what it's going to be out of our pocket, right? I promise you. It was tens of thousands.
All right, there goes your fee.
And I said, there it goes. Just get the business, get to work.
And was this...
So that's how, I mean, it everything had to be put on the screen. If it wasn't right, we'll figure it out. We were young. We you know, it was just like, it had to. So to answer you, like, that's how important this was. Everything was that way. What was on that screen, we didn't care how it had to get there. If we had to pay, if we needed more film, that's what it took.
Well, we
had to show that we can do the big budgets. That's really what it felt like, to answer you. We had to raise our stakes. It couldn't be 16 millimeter anymore. It had to be 35. Well, there's a $7,000 increase just in your film stock. But guess what else it increases? Your transfer time, another 4 hours. There's fourth, you know, fine. You know what I mean?
Look, back in the subject of what we were talking about and how you were trying to get to the next level, you're trying to do bigger and better. Was there, and I've been meaning to ask you about this, was there ever a video that you felt would make or break your career or define who you are to put you on that next level? And it was your I made it moment. Was there ever a specific video that did that for you?
I would say possibly 2, but I'll have to go to the obvious one for me would be Good Charlotte, the Anthem. It was retired. Many of ours were retired at number 1 on TRL, but it was the it was the highest watched video of 2003.
Yeah, and
it was the most voted for video.
What were
of
the
2000.
other songs that came out that year? It was
it was
Justin Timberlake,
NSYNC. Yeah, it was like all the Britney Spears.
Was Eminem?
Oh yeah, it was everything. It was just like, and it was cool because when making the video came out, the production company we were at was a huge company. They had a party when the thing premiered. It was like something is happening.
Yeah.
We were getting recognized now at Good Charlotte shows, signing Louis Vuitton bags. There was a moment where I saw them play in. The usher had to usher me to my seat, and as he was ushering me there, fans were pouring over the bleachers like by the hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
And
perfect segment to pull up the behind the scenes. Behind the scenes videos in the MTV era were so it was almost just as cool as the actual music video.
Well,
we watched the we'll pop it up right now. The Anthem behind the scenes. You can see Spidey riffing at the table with all these execs with the whole band and even seeing you on set. It was so wild. But yeah, that made you
But think about it. We
Just as
just
a
said a little
celebrity as
bit
they are.
ago. Didn't we say a little bit ago about overexposure, overpopulating your image, right? Well, if I was being on an MTV show for a band 3 times, and that's where you saw me, and then you see me at a concert, it's different than when you just see me today. You know what I mean? Like it's constant me. It's constant whatever it is. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Again, if it worked for the artist, then it worked for the people around them, and so it was a big deal. Directors were honored. We're honored at that era.
I will say
and
I get the same thing when I go to shows, but it's not nearly what it was for you guys. You know what I mean? You just said it. You were like, man, directors were you were it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You were music video directors. I felt, and even I personally feel like it is still today, that you guys had the same amount of respect and admiration as somebody who made movies.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
It was often considered the stepping stone, and movie execs and studios would look at directors to be the video directors to be more innovative, and do more genre films. But to get back to what you said, though, I would honestly say that it was the Good Charlotte video for the Anthem.
how many views does it have today?
Oh, I don't even know.
How many
I don't
views
know.
do you remember it had?
No. Again, I came in before it was YouTube, you know? The other video that I mentioned was probably my biggest budget video.
Yeah, I forget about that. That they didn't upload those videos until when YouTube was made, which I don't know. I think it was like 2004 or something.
Yeah.
104 million.
And that was uploaded probably late, you know, because it wasn't
Some
uploaded.
small numbers there, Mr. Smith.
But it was a different time, you know, and I like what we're talking about because it is a bit of past and present. How can you preserve some of that into today's market? Is there a way? Is it a lost art? I mean, I hate to say it, I do think music videos is a lost art. That's why we look at them and honor them the way we do, or we perceive them as nostalgic, and that's why we're talking about nostalgic videos.
You know, the thing was, it was art. Like it was
Yeah.
such a hardworking, thought out, creative piece of work that justified the song, and it is completely different than a viral TikTok that people don't remember. It doesn't get ingrained in your brain. Yes, the exposure is there, but it's not as special. I mean, still with those music videos, man, I play them around my house. Just, you know, I love it on repeat. You know, put the playlist together of 2000 to 2005 or whatever. It's so nostalgic, and it brings you right back to that place of where you were in life. And
I remember dealing with and trying to grasp the change when it was like you would go to the production company and have lunch catered, and you would be there with different directors who were at their production bays talking, and you're inspiring with Wayne Isham, Shane Drake. You're just like Kevin Kerslick. I mean, again, I'm mentioning these names and I get goosebumps that I had the privilege to do that. But like that community, or that isn't here anymore. We don't do production companies. We don't get catered lunches where everybody comes in. You know, it's more like everybody works from their house, and then they have to go meet somewhere and scout. They get pinned, and then that's that. You know, it's a different.
do you think we could have a comeback though? I think everyone wants to know that, because we still live in such a media-based world right now. Everyone is still looking at their phones. We're still watching videos. We're still looking at pictures. Media is as big as it ever has been. Will there be a shift?
But right now we're tailoring
into more. We shift back into the art world, and we start making art and not content, because, you know, obviously our attention spans are out the door. But now we're oversaturated with too much shit.
It's the phone. See, the phone is viewed in a vertical fashion. You go home and you view your TV with a horizontal. I guess you can turn your phone. I guess you can do
I
that.
tell you what, there's still those few select artists. I mean, Taylor Swift included, but it's the Kendrick Lamars.
Yeah.
It is it's the 1975. I mean, they'll probably come out with just a banger of a music video. Those bands and artists, I think they do have that ability to
Sure.
go
I
and
think
make
it'll always
those
be.
creative, big budgeted, impactful videos that helps their music.
Yeah. I think there'll always be artists that do music videos, but when you start to see these vertical performance with the lyrics at the bottom, they're like
Yeah.
almost like one take performance clips from a music video, right? I see where everything is moving towards. It's like visualizers are a word now being used, and they're describing videos and like how can we get a TRT, a total running time of the song. That's really it. It's really it. Everybody's so concerned with the TRT.
Yeah.
It is really, the
Hey,
total
I
running time.
want to ask a question before we get off that topic of you're working with Good Charlotte, you're working with Simple Plan, you're working with Exhibit, Cypress Hill, all these people, and even in your career now, you're shooting Morgan Wallen, you're shooting Jason Aldean, Yellow Wolf, everybody and anybody. Were you ever nervous? Were you ever starstruck by these people? Like, talk about how you are around these type of people, because that is a trait in itself.
Yeah.
And it's a trait that I am very confident that I have. When I moved to Nashville, I didn't grow up on country music, so no one was famous to me. So if I'm in a room talking to Morgan or Hardy or Luke Bryan or Blake Shelton, I'm just like, what's up? How's it going? And then they took a liking into the fact that I wasn't asking them those typical questions of like, man, love that song, love that music video. Basically, if you talked about anything besides their music career, and we're just like, hey, how about that football game last night? That was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, talk about your persona in Hollywood on the set of these big music videos, hanging out with these huge bands and artists. I mean,
I think
how are you feeling?
There was a bit of being somewhat cocky and naive. I was nervous at times. I was more nervous not for the artists. It was more I was nervous in my execution. Will this come out the way I want it to be for them? Will this? It was always the nerves of making the project the best.
So you had the work as like a distraction.
Yes.
You were too gung-ho on the work itself. You didn't have time to think about
that's it.
Who's famous? I'm next to them. People are looking at us.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Now I will be honest. I was nervous with Marshall, with Eminem. I mean,
of course.
You're meeting.
That was my next question. Was there how many artists on your catalog of work? How many did you listen to and then you got to work with them? That's different than working with somebody, meeting them, being like, dude, good to meet you. Oh yeah, just listen to the music. Sounds great. Yeah, let's blow this thing up.
Yeah, I mean, Eminem was definitely it as far as that's concerned, because it's just like he's the highest for me.
He was the biggest artist
on every front.
World.
And then when you're walking on his bus to the back lounge and you're talking video ideas and you're 2 feet behind him walking through the corridors to stage, you're just like, what? This is really happening. I'm really young, and it's like I saw this view where I'm nervous and I'm walking and I'm right where I need to be, meaning I'm supposed to be here. Hey, yeah, come. We're gonna go to the stage and you're gonna go with Paul over.
But you're dialed.
I'm dialed,
focused on
and
what
I'm
you
watching
need to do.
all of these people. So it's like I have the back of Marshall's head, and it's cool because you have the do rag and you see the hair, and you're just walking and you're like, oh my God, what is happening right now? But you see everybody who is coming at him. See, I'm just behind him. So I see all these stars and everybody, the way they approach him, and you're getting the dabs and all of that stuff. It was that was all before I shot him. That was to talk about the idea. Again, back to Paul Rosenberg. He wanted to shepherd the relationship. He wanted to make sure that he knew I would go the extra mile, drive all the way out to San Bernardino to talk with him, and
was Eminem intimidating?
no, not at all.
What was it like?
I mean,
working with him?
it was a dark bus, and he asked me back to he's like, "Hey, Rye, come to the back," and he was back there. And the irony is that there was like little buffet, tinfoil buffet things back there. And he's like, "Hey, do you want an egg roll or something?" I'm like, "No, I'm good, man." Like, you know what I mean? I'm like really kind of pissing myself at the moment.
Yeah.
And
the Mikasa Sukasa.
It's easy when you talk to the artist to listen to them. Like, golly, man, when they throw it back at you, you're like, okay, you have the floor, and it was rad having this one-on-one conversation closer than this.
Yeah.
We're in the back lounge.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And then he gets the walkie-talkie and people come, and now we leave and we go all the way down to the thing. And I separate literally with Paul Rosenberg to go sit on a leather couch, dead center of the whole thing. And I mean, And then you go direct him? Like, what?
I think that's what we're talking about, is that, not every artist is welcoming like that. They are not as casual or warm, or I don't know, I don't want to say normal because they're not normal, but it really does change everything, especially if you're going to be working with these people.
Sure.
And, I got that obviously working with Hardy. I mean, he was not famous to me. And then on top of that, his story was he didn't even want to be an artist. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't like a famous guy at all.
Yeah.
So that's why we became such good friends. And I mean, if I'm going to spitball any crazy stories for me, because I got to work with Nickelback. It was a few years ago, and they had a show. There's their big comeback. It was at Bridgestone Arena. And I'm friends with their manager Chief, and he kind of gave me a green light to be a part of the content team. And the crazy thing is that before I even bought a camera, before I even moved to Nashville, I was a bartender in Minneapolis. And I would bartend these Timberwolves games and these concerts at Target Center, which is in downtown Minneapolis. And there was one show in particular, which I admit I was a fan of, and it was Nickelback. And I'm up there slinging, maybe 20 to 50 beers or something, making like $48 that night or something. I was making no money. And I found out that I had mutual friends who knew Nickelback. And so I talked to my brother who works in hockey. He talks to his friend who he works with, who's hanging out with Chad Kroeger. And I was like, dude, can you get me down to go party with the guys like backstage after the show? And he was like, probably not. But one text led to another, and he was like, you need to go downstairs right now and go to this door. And I was like, dude, I need 30 more minutes to close up. And he was like,
no, it's now.
And I fucking put everything in a cage and I'm gone. So I'm just sitting down there, and I'm by a stairwell, and I'm twiddling my thumbs, and I'm trying to look casual and not like a fan or anything. And I was in all black, which, by the way, if you work in music, the all black attire, I got the white shirt on, but it's an indicator of like, oh, you're in the business. Mm-hmm. After 20 minutes, his friend comes up, gets me, and he goes, let's go. And we go right into their green room. And it's dark, and I can barely even see anything, and there's girls around, and I'm just like trying to be casual. I must be 21 at the time. I think I just turned 21, maybe 22. And I go to the bar, and sure enough, the bartender is Chad Kroeger. And he just pops this bottle of Patron. He goes, what's up? You want to hit this? I was like, yes, sir. Absolutely. And he's looking at, and we take a shot, and it was a bunch of us, and they have good music going on, and he's looking at me like, I don't remember hiring you. Like, who the heck is this kid? And then, it brushes off. And then within 20, 30 minutes, you hear, all right, time to go. And then I'm still baffled on like the room and that I'm in and all these people. And I'm like, I don't belong here. And I go to my brother's friend and I was like, where are we going? And he goes, we're going to the strip club. And, Minneapolis has a strip club literally right across the street from Target Center. And I didn't even miss a beat. I go, let's go. So now we're in a group of maybe 15 people, maybe less. And I'm just walking with everybody. I'm blending. I got a drink in my hand. I don't even know what's in the drink. Chad and the band are in the very front. They're leading the walk. And then somebody just comes up to me. They go, hey, man, are you in marketing or something? And I was like, brother, I'm just a bartender that made my way down here. And they just go, sweet, let's go. So we go to the strip club. And Chad immediately, he finds the private room. He goes back there. He does his thing. There's no surprise that, Chad's a fan of strip clubs. So we're not in trouble here. And two of the band members, they kind of go to me. We're just hanging out, lingering. And they must think I'm like part of the crew. Anyways, one of them goes, man, we just had kids. Like, we can't be here. Do you know of another place that we could go to? And I was like, fuck yeah. There's a dueling pianos bar right down the street. You're going to love it. There's probably going to be nobody there. Me and these two guys go to this dueling piano bar. We get drunk all night talking about, I couldn't even tell you what we talked about. I mean, it was over 15 years ago. No, it was probably 15 years ago. And we leave. We go up to it's Hennepin Avenue. No one's on the streets. They call a cab. I call a cab. And they're like, so we'll just see you later or something? I was like, yeah. Gave him a fist bump. See you guys later. Good night. Well, fast forward, 12 years after that, then now I'm in the same room with these guys. And I remember I was getting ready to film their walkout to Bridgestone Arena. And that's like one of my favorite shots that I ever got. And I put it in there in the recap video. And I'm just stationed and they're all looking at me and it's just me and them and maybe their manager or tour manager. And I can see one of the guys, I think he's the guitarist, and he's looking at me and he's just doing this, like kind of shaking his head, and I'm shitting my pants. I'm just at my camera and I'm just like, oh God, does he recognize that it's me? And I think he did, but I never had the balls to like go up and tell him, hey, you remember 12 years ago when we went to dueling pianos in the strip club? They would have no idea. And that was another thing. I was so gung-ho and so focused on the job of shooting this show that I didn't have time to be nervous. I didn't have time to like approach these guys and try to, get in with them. It was just like, just be a normal person, get the job done and get out.
You said something in there that I wanted to ask. Like, when you were coming up and you're in that situation, you're buying cameras and you're doing this could be for Zach. What is the goal? What are you trying to do? Meaning, when I came in, and I've said I've spoke to colleges, like I wanted to direct music videos because at that era, that time, that's what was being shown. Okay, I want that. I go do that. Right? Content shooters that are aspiring to do better content videos? Like, is there a goal in a trajectory? Did you ever want to be a director of documentaries, a director of these said music videos?
You have to think, my world was very similar to your world. There was competition. The recap videos on Instagram in that era where they were the music videos of that time.
I agree with you. Okay, that's cool. Yes, you're right.
And for me, I think I wasn't even thinking about money. I didn't even give a shit about money. I was so gung-ho on, I wanted my videos to just be different and better than what anybody else was making. And I was studying all these other genres, all these different industries. I was looking at EDM, videos that they were putting out. I was looking at hip hop videos because country didn't have that. They didn't have this, like, it wasn't cool. It was too, when I came in, it was too polished.
Mm-hmm.
And then so when I got the green light to work with Hardy, that really encouraged me to just want to make different stuff, make it epic. Okay, now let's introduce sound effects.
Like
now
a style, like really.
And let's make this one like Scary Movie. Let's make it suspenseful. Let's not even use his song. Let's use just a steady ambient drone and create that suspense of like, who is this guy? And honestly, I felt it was like, how do I make this guy look like a rock star, because he already is?
Mm-hmm.
And probably the same probably went for music videos as well.
I mean, I'm loving this parallel. It's awesome because probably there was, you said there's like a competition, or there was an influx of that format going out, right?
Right.
And so therefore you were just trying to rise above it, because for the most part, people were just happy. I keep using the TRT thing, but again, they're just happy to have got an image.
Mm-hmm.
And because recap was weird. Recap evolved, and now it is what it is. But you know what I mean? Explain to me how you feel like the recap business or the recap thing.
Well, right now
came about.
Well, here's the deal. Right now, the recaps are dead. It's a sad truth. It's because people's attention span is, shorter than as short as it gets. So
you're saying music videos are dead? I said that earlier.
Music videos are
and
dead.
You
now
just said
recaps are dead. So now everything is so short form. Again, I feel so grateful that I had that opportunity, because you cared so much about whether it was a minute or a minute and a half. You cared about every single step, because they would watch that entire video.
Mm-hmm.
Even like I would spend hours just on, how do I finish this? The last 3 clips. And then I would, I would spend so much time, because I knew, how do I end this to make them come back or rewatch the video? So there is a lot of marketing.
But it sounds honestly like which it really fun as we possibly wrap up. But it's fun how your world, your obsession, the amount of painstaking time you wanted to rise above, all the things I mentioned that I did in 2001. I put my money into the jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You think about what your end goal was.
Very similar to you, I was trying to do something my way. At the end of the day, I just wanted to be a part of something that came from nothing. I wanted to be, I watched Mac Miller, I watched Machine Gun Kelly, I watched all these guys who documented their lives, because YouTube was so predominant, and they documented it. And I was like, just to be a part of that team and have an influence on that.
That's cool.
That's what I wanted. I wanted to be a positive effect and contribution to something successful. I mean, it sounds like more a business savvy, but
no, but it's cool, because even think about what old school music videos were. You came in, you directed your music video, and you left. Right? Nowadays, and with your mindset when you came in, I love that, because that's my mindset now. Right? It's like, man, I want to be a part. I want to infect. I want to be responsible for something within this organization.
You don't think that you felt that back then? Like, you made these music videos.
No.
That you, in a way, you helped put Good Charlotte on the map. You literally had the #1 music video in that era with millions of views. You didn't have a sense of, or did they not have a sense of, like, we did it. Like, it was a collective thing, and I helped them get from one level to another.
There was a moment where, yes, there is that. I remember being on stage with Joel and shooting a photo and seeing kind of like a look he gave me when all these lighters went up like that. But as far as me, I can answer this. I remember vividly thinking that I was only as good as my last. And I did not think I was going to do this for a career. I remember late. And I don't know if that goes back to our early episode with Zach Knudsen right there saying, what is it? Imposter syndrome? There it is, right? It was like, I didn't know when it was going to end because the business was, well, again, I said earlier, I'm trying to reverse engineer what the big boys were doing. And maybe I didn't do it. Maybe I wasn't speaking my own language into what I was doing. So to answer all that, I think all of that clouded the fact that I was actually being responsible for an era of music videos. I just saw underdog the whole time. I saw, oh God, now? Oh my God. Now not 7 years ago, I might have been like, I don't want, yeah, I did that video. Because I felt it made me old.
Oh.
It defined me as age.
And that's dumb.
It's dumb. Very dumb.
I've said you're dumb numerous times.
But now I look at it like I'm so proud.
There is a difference between the being in the moment or the era of what you're doing rather than years later being like, you reflect back being like, oh yeah, I guess I was a part of that. And man, that was super cool.
It was, it's so cool. And as we talk about it, I'm reliving it, and I'm literally in my mind trying to think of things. It breaks my heart in a way.
Oh yeah,
because it's not now, and I do now think, oh my God, that's what this is about. We're talking about, like, we said we're going to get in here, we're going to talk. We don't know what is going to necessarily be with an agenda, but like every time we do talk, it maneuvers into these awesome conversations, which I think this one was really fun.
First off, I think we covered a lot of good basis on this episode.
Amazing.
I'm glad that we're finally, in the cheesiest way possible, we are finally in the trenches of who Spidey Smith is. You were skeptical of showing your work, and like work that is so profound on me and my career. And, it's full circle that I'm sitting here and I made my videos based on music videos from that era, from TRL. And you were the creators of those videos. Obviously not all of them, but so yeah, I think this was good to get to know you. I think we're going to dial more into who Spidey Smith is. I think we're going to, I think we should bring in some artists. I think we should bring in some guests, and we should talk about how they feel on these sets, or how they feel about you, working with you and me. And
for sure.
And they want to know who Spidey Smith is today.
So join us for the next episode, guys. Thanks.
In the trenches.